Hey everyone, this is Craig McLeod here. As you guys probably know me, I am Miss Becky's son. I graduated from Faith Community Christian High School in 2008. And my senior year, we went on a missions trip to Portland, Oregon. Um, and while we were there, um, at the time, Portland was experiencing a ton of homelessness, and it still is. It's one of the cities with the highest number of people experiencing homelessness. So, um, while we were there, one of the ministries we were helping out with did a it was either weekly or nightly dinner service for some of the homeless who were camping out under one of the bridges there. So my class had gone out, purchased a bunch of fruit and other items from the local grocery store, took it back to the church, and we prepped it. And so my job was on a fruit cocktail. And so when we went to the grocery stores, we bought apples and bananas and all this other fruit. And so when we were back at the church, we cut it up and then put it all together. So we had probably um, two or three large containers of fruit. So we set up this buffet line, and all of us are there. There's a guy with a grill just grilling stuff. And so people would come, put down their stuff, grab a plate, just walk down the line, and we would give them some food. Well, um, as we were going, the bridge that we were at was right next to a bus stop, and so all these buses would stop at the bus stop, and all these people would come off and get directly in line. So as we're going, I'm scooping fruit and putting it on plates, and um, before you know it, the first container's gone, and another bus pulls up, and more people get in line, and the line just keeps getting longer and longer. I just keep scooping and scooping, and before you know it, our second container is gone. So now we're on our last container of fruit. The line is still long. The fruit is not going to last. So as we're there, Mr. Mosty and I were standing there, and so I began to pray and ask God to just extend the food that we had. Um, and so as we were praying, we just kept talking, and as people were going through, we would say hello or whatever, and just keep giving them food, and they just keep going down the line. Well, before I knew it, we were halfway through that last container of fruit, and the line was still long. So we just kept praying, talking to people, and handing out fruit. Well, buses kept pulling up. We kept scooping fruit, and fruit just kept being there, and we ended up not running out of fruit until the last person came through the line. And so it was just really cool because in the Bible we read that Jesus had bread and fish, and there clearly wasn't enough to feed everyone, but you know through God's blessing, those loaves and fish were able to feed the whole crowd, and it was really cool to be able to see the experience, or be part of the service where we were clearly running out of fruit. There was not enough fruit to feed everyone that was coming for dinner that night, but God multiplied the fruit, and we had enough and more than everyone who came in line. What was also really cool is in Matthew, I believe it's 25, uh, you know, Jesus is talking about the parable of or not the parable, but he's talking about how in the end times the goats and the sheep will be separated, and he talks through, those who visit, those in prison. They're not visiting prisoners; they're visiting Jesus, and those who feed the least of these are actually feeding Jesus. Um, what was really cool that night is as we were scooping fruit and stuff, I was shaking hands with people, which is not something you can do now, but at the time, 12 years ago, it was fine. We were shaking hands and meeting people, and there was this one guy who came through the line who was a little shy, and I gave him his fruit, and I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Craig." And he looked at me. He's like, "Hello, um, I'm Jesus." And in that moment, I was reading a book previously about Matthew 25 and how everything we do is really we're doing it for Jesus, and it was really cool. In the midst of this miracle of the fruit being extended, I also got to meet Jesus face to face through the man Jesus, who I got to introduce myself to. So it was just really cool. It was something that I won't forget. But it was really cool that we didn't buy enough fruit, yet God provided. And so